All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the CEN show, a platform where we learn from the world community. I am your host, Rasaki Mascani, and this evening we have a nice large panel. I will introduce everyone. We have Dr. Moonby here and Steph's Crown. We got Brother Chawara, Professor Amin Ra. We have Bana. We have Janice Hill, Sylvia John, Salubi Denise, and we have Kisana that's coming in. We have Richard, Sababu, Shabaka, Brother Mashinda, Marion Anderson, Jawan, and our guest this evening is Heraldess, Adama, Alaji. And I met Adama on an educational panel, and when she was speaking, I was blown away. So I had to ask her to be a guest on the CEN show, and she accepted, and I'm glad she did. Adama's going to present some information to us this evening, and the topic is Liberation is a Cellular Function, and that's a very distinguished title. So I'm looking forward to her presentation. Good evening, Adama. Thank you for coming. Please start your presentation and tell us some things about yourself also.
Thank you so much for having me. I want us to just take a moment and take a very deep breath and realize that with each and every breath, we have been gifted with nothing but the greatest gift that we will ever have in existence itself, which is existence itself. There is no greater blessing than life. There is no greater wealth than life. There is no greater time than the now. For us to come to place and space where we are truly remembering the gift and the blessedness in being with each and every breath and every beat of our hearts. We have been socialized under a system of oppression that has facilitated our disregarding, disrespecting, not acknowledging, not appreciating, not truly exalting the absolute truth of the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of life itself. And as a result of being in violation of that, we see all of the ills that is the evidence of our being under a global initiative that is depopulation and genocide. Because we have been taught to believe that the natural finality, culmination, eventuality, unavoidability, destiny, and fate of having lived is death. And I am the voice to remind us that we are on a planet that is a mothership, 80% water, spinning in the reality of eternity, and each one of us has come into this realm from another realm of eternity through the sacred wombs of our mothers, sparked by the sacred fluid of our fathers, and then we were given no support through our religious indoctrination, through our miseducation, through our socialization, through our culture to really respect and honor the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of life, of our own lives and of all life and all being. And so I am addressing in a time where health and wellness is a buzz terminology, in a time where parity and equality and diversity, and there are many, many terms that people are using that has nothing to do with how it is that we can truly ensure the progression of our lineages or our true success in life. because we've not been supported in understanding that there's purpose in existence beyond just becoming educated, religiously indoctrinated, socialized, and cultivated so that we become cogs in the wheel of oppression and capitalism. And so because the methodology of our oppression has been to oppress us at our cellular functioning, then I am the one to remind us that our liberation has to happen at the cellular level. So the brain cells, the liver cells, the kidney cells, all of the cells, the trillions of cells that we are made up of, which are units of absolute and supreme intelligence, particularly coded, so that the gifts that we were given through our DNA are truly charged in the fabric of our being, and being under a global initiative of depopulation and genocide, where the methodology is to divide us within ourselves by having fed us like kids, feeding us the flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of chickens, the pus and mucus of cows, artificially colored, artificially flavored, NutraSweet, aspartame, soft drinks filled with phosphoric acids and caramel coloring and aspartame and white sugar, and all of this stuff is really the evidence of why there is so much cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and all of the sickness, illness, and disease, where we as a global populace have become cash cows herded under multi-trillion-dollar industry of sickness, illness, disease, and death, predicated on inebriation, intoxication, violation, stupefaction. You understand? So that we, no matter how much education we have, no matter how much money we have, no matter how much proficiency we have gained in any of the arts or sports or any of that, the reality is that there is no way to get out of this experience alive, because we have been participating in our own cellular oppression, sickness, illness, disease, and death. The good news is that living in the realm of eternity and being in this now moment, where we each are mature enough to begin to make decisions that are truly in our own best interest, but the decision that really matters is consciously caring to be fully committed to living. Now, everybody's been gifted life. Everybody has life. There is no greater gift. But if everybody was committed to living, then the corporate deities of death, the meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, alcohol, tobacco, and sugar industries could not exist. There could not be multi-trillion-dollar business in alcohol and tobacco and flesh and blood and all of this if everybody who had life was committed to living. And so in our now moment, we're having the opportunity to make those commitments. I'm urging us to come to a point where we're not just feeding on conversations. This is not an intellectualization. It is about how do we ensure the progression of our lineages, and how do we atone for our own participation in violating ourselves. Because this that I'm bringing forward, I might be speaking to it in a different way. But the whole frequency of vegetarianism and veganism and raw food, and this is a conversation that everybody has had some exposure to. So it's not anything new. It's just that, one, we have not been supported in respecting the perfect and divine design of our functioning. We have not taken into consideration that if one, I don't know how old what the average age of everybody is, but let's say everybody is at least 45 years of age or somewhat, right? 45 years of age comes to 16,425 days of life. Okay, so at 45, for those of us there, every day from the day we came out our mother's womb, somebody bathed us until we could bathe ourselves. And unless there was some seriously mitigating circumstances, most of us will bathe every day. So out of the tens of thousands of days of life, very few people have gone more than a few days at a time without bathing, without washing their mouths and brushing their teeth. But then all of that goes down the throat into the body is being trapped there. And this is the issue. This is the cancer. the heart disease, diabetes, and all of that. So addressing the issues of our liberation is a necessity, because otherwise we are consistently feeding into a system that intends to have us in a place where we are not knowing how to get off the high blood pressure medicine. We're not knowing how to get off of dialysis. We're not knowing how to reverse the heart disease and whatnot without having stents and triple coronary bypasses. We are not knowing how to care for the greatest gift that we were given, which is ourselves. Now, in a perfect world where everyone is either man or womb man, the progenitor or the perpetuator of lineages, then everybody would have been supported spiritually, educationally, business-wise, to be in the exaltation of life. For all other intelligences of existence exalt a full effort in their living. They do nothing to undermine themselves. They know their food, they excrete their waste, they know their kind, and they perpetuate themselves, and they will respond correctly and directly when they sense that their lives are being threatened. It doesn't matter what form or shape that intelligence has taken. When you heard and when you remember that we were told self-preservation is the first law, then for those of us who are men and women who want to be considered as intelligent beings, we do have to realize that there is something seriously wrong when we feel as though God has given us the free will to be enslaved to any appetite, desire, lust, or passion that we care to cultivate. There is something seriously wrong when we have those who have been so violated that the blood has become like sludge, and they're having to be put on blood thinners, but not realizing that the methodology of our oppression to defile the blood is the foundation of what nobody is addressing in terms of what we have heard, what we have inherited, in terms of our civil rights, in terms of our empowerment, our Black power, our whatever. I'm just saying there's no power that we can possibly have when we are not oriented properly in exalting a full effort in our living, in consciously knowing how to facilitate consistent cellular regeneration, rejuvenation, revitalization, repair, and healing, so that we are not cash cows under a system of oppression where those who have considered themselves to be gods of the freaking universe that are non-melanin dominated have made a decision that the melanin dominated world on all continents, that we have become useless eaters, and they have the right to depopulate and put an agenda of zero population and depopulation that is in full effect. Our education has done nothing to prepare us properly for success in life. Our churches have become the vehicle of Satan in terms of deceiving the people into thinking that we need someone to intercede for us between us and our Creator. We're in a place in space now where 80% of melanin-dominated women are having hysterectomies, high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these things. But then we are teachers, we are school administrators, we're lawyers, we're doctors, we're surgeons, we're in the middle. Everywhere that we are, where there is the man with the wound, there should be one who is completely committed to the exaltation of life. But what our education has given us is the opportunity to be the profiteers behind a system of miseducation, cellular oppression, and we maintain and sustain the system of things with our education, our religious indoctrination, our training, our certification. But we never had to be certified, educated, religiously trained to be men, the progenitor of lineages, or to be wombed men, the perpetuator of lineages. But it is the hardest thing to do at this particular point in junction, so that a lot of our youth are not able to have babies. We're aborting our babies. We're miscarrying. We're having all of these single-headed households, which is not something that is new to us, right? And so I'm just saying it's divisiveness. Why? Because the agenda is to phase our lineages out of existence and make it next to impossible for us to have healthy, collaborative, life-exalting, life-supporting marriages, relationships, business relationships, and that's the whole point of it all. So we can be divided and conquered. And until we decide that we will exalt a full effort in our living, which would require us to be in a place where we are facilitating the body's daily cleansing so that we can be healed from all of the infirmity, all of diabetes, all of the renal failure, the liver failure, the heart attacks, the strokes, all of this stuff, which is the evidence of the agenda, because there is nothing natural about 80, 90% of us being sick, ill, and diseased. And we treat our cars better than we treat our bodies. We won't put canola oil where our motor oil goes. We won't put sugar in our gas tanks. You understand? We're not going to put diesel fuel where our unleaded fuel goes, but we're going to put canola oil in our body temples. We're going to put sugar in there. We're going to put alcohol in there. We're going to smoke. We're going to vape. We're going to do all of the things that is a direct violation of the greatest gift that we were given, which is ourselves. And so I'm advocating and I am exalting the absolute reality that, one, we were told from the time that we were knee-high to dust, thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator, God, thy Lord, with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. We were told, thou shalt honor your mother and father. We were told to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. We were told to knock and the door would be open, to seek and we would find. We were told through prayer and fasting, the desires of our heart would be granted unto us. I haven't been to church since I was 11, but for the time that I was there, those are the things that I took away. And I will tell you that in all of the years of my miseducation at the University of Florida, for all of the interaction I've had with all of the ones I've interacted with, whether it was Dr. Savory, Lila, Africa, Jewel, Pookrum, Dr. Blair, Dr. Valentine, Queen of Foyle, all of these ones that I've interviewed and whatnot in the 24 years that I've been doing radio here in Atlanta, nobody's given us a greater way, what we were already told. But we have taken, as a result of our miseducation, that man's way is mandate and God's way is optional. Man's way is mandate and God's way is optional. What does that mean? That means that, oh, well, I got to go to school. I got to get my degree, or I got to get my certification. I got to get my license. I got to get my degree so that I can get a good job. And I got to pay my taxes and I got to do this, and this. Oh, well, I can't. I'm too busy. I can't get up in the morning and do an enema. I got to get up and go. I got to get up and go. I got to get up and I'm just saying now, look at this. From the time that we were children, we've been getting up and getting out to go somewhere without ever giving God the full attention that it deserves as that which woke us up, maintained us, sustained us in our slumber, and set the precedent for each and every day. So we're in a now moment where we have to realize the public school system is a system of oppression. Those who are maintaining and sustaining it have been participating in their own cellular oppression. The hospitals are trauma centers. We are not learning how to maintain and sustain and exalt a fuller effort. We can get bandaged up, we can get stitched up, we can get braced up, we can get titanium rods put in our bodies, you understand? But we cannot learn how to really facilitate the genius of these perfectly and divinely designed bodies that we have. And so I'm setting a new precedent that the sisterhood needs to raise completely up, because it is our duty, obligation, and responsibility as women to know how to facilitate life. It is our duty, obligation, and responsibility as women to take full responsibility for our clearing, our cleansing, our purification, so that we are doing the damage control of having fed our children like kids and poisoned the men and the ones that we've loved all of our lives. And a lot of sisters don't want to take responsibility to realize, yeah, well, the husband is having to have his legs amputated because you was feeding him garbage the whole 40 years y'all been married. We don't want to take responsibility. No, it was a system of things, but at what point should we have not thought to ask? At what point should we have not asked our Creator for the wherewithal to know what to do differently when we see our children blowing up? You understand? At what point are we not to be held accountable and responsible to that which is beating our hearts and breathing us for answer and solution when we see that the system of things is not trying to do anything to allow us or to strengthen us or to inspire us or to ensure our true success in walking in the light of the truth of the ones that we're born to be as these living, loving, intelligent, potent, and immortal points of the presence of God. And being on radio for 24 years at WRFG, I realized that a lot of times we want to talk about the problem, but we don't want to bring God into the conversation. We want to talk about the war, the Palestinians and Israel and the guns, and we want to talk about all of the politics, but we don't want to bring God into the conversation. And I'm saying that we are these points of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence. We are the personification of deity that has been gifted into these perfectly and divinely designed spacesuits that we call bodies. And now we're having to take responsibility for our clearing, our cleansing, our purification, our consecration, so that we are restored in the light of the truth of the ones that we were born to be, as the evidence of the kingdoms and queendoms of God rising. Liberation has to happen at the cellular level. But liberation is not even a large part of your conversation at this. Still talking parity, we're still talking diversity, we're still talking economics, we're still talking gentrification. There's a lot of things that we're talking about. But liberation is not the conversation. And so I'm bringing that back to the table. If you are not consciously caring to walk in the light of the truth of the all that you are as a living, divinely designed intelligence of existence, whose beginning that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and immortal. That's not in your mind, if it's not a part of what's in your heart, if the restoration and the reorientation of who you are, where you are, what you are, if you're not consciously caring to be restored in the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of your being, then I guarantee you there's no way for you to get out of this alive. Now, the issue is if you get out of this as a dead person, in the realm of eternity, how long? In our cartoons when we were children, Roadrunner and them, they used to fight and beat each other up, and then they just pop back up and keep running. You understand? They be beating each other up, and then they pop up and they just keep running. So we as children seeing this play between good and evil and all of this stuff, but we had no real connection about finality of death. So even now, people are believing where energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it's merely transformed. And so people who have been aggressive about killing themselves, eating the pork chops and the alcohol and the tobacco and the smoking and the vaping and all of this, it's like they're throwing their greatest gift away, their life force, their life currency. But then when they get to that place in space where they can hardly breathe, where they can hardly move, where they can't move their bowels, where their friends and families are somewhere other than where they are, you understand? Then we have this realization of the tragic date with fate that we have created for ourselves. And I'm in this place in space where I'm saying, our life is our greatest gift. We'll never have anything greater. The daily clearing, cleansing, purification, cellular liberation is to be affected by bringing Mother Earth into our bodies. Many of us grew up in the South and other parts where there was a craving for clay and chalk and cornstarch and argo starch and whatnot. That was the DNA kicking in because the body, as a result of how much nitrates, BHA, BHT, pesticide, herbicide, antibiotics, hormones, red dye, blue lake, this, that, and the other, all of the chemicals that were in our systems that put us in a place where we were craving the clay because the clay is the neutralizer. We were craving the clay when we were pregnant because our bodies needed more minerals for the formation of these new bodies coming in. You understand? So I'm dealing with the clay as well as the herbs, as well as fresh fruit and vegetation, but then the level of thought. You understand? So the cleaner the blood, greater the consciousness. The cleaner the blood, the greater the clarity. The cleaner the blood, the greater leverage we have over a system that has created cellular oppression through the defilement and the pollution of our bloodstream. And that polluted bloodstream is manifesting in the world as polluted waters. That filth that is now in our systems is showing up. It's ghettos and all of the trash that is in the neighborhoods and whatnot, because what's going on inside is reflected outside. We're in a now moment that requires us to really understand that in order to have leverage over a system of oppression, then you have to exalt a full effort in your living. In order to have leverage over a system of oppression, then you have to be fully committed with every fiber of your being to the divinity and the intelligence that is beating your heart, breathing you, blazing the sun, and has the earth spinning. In order for us to come into any real degree of harmonization and unification, and we've heard people say, well, when black people gonna come together? Black people need to come together. You understand? Black people can't come together because we're acknowledging ourselves as being black, not light, not intelligence. You understand? Not cleared, clarified, renewed, rebirthed, regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized, revivified, to walk in the truth of who we are as these points of the presence of God. So no, that's how we come together. Because blackness is not our salvation. Having more money is not our salvation. Being carbon copies of our European ancestors is not our salvation. What are we being saved from? Dwelling in the ditches and valleys of hellaciousness while we are already in eternity. Dwelling in the ditches and valleys of hellaciousness. Through the pain, the suffering, the cancer, the heart disease, the chemo, the injections, the shots, the hospital visits, the pharmaceutical use, abuse. You understand? Being cash cows in the system of multi-trillion-dollar debt. Yeah, that's the hellaciousness. We want to avoid that. And so at 66 years of age, at 46 years of strict vegetarianism, 20 years plus of no potatoes and rice and beans and all of that stuff, I'm the one to tell you that doctors do not have to be a part of our reality. And that we are able to do what we have not seen done. And that's to raise completely up by remembering who we are, whose we are, returning into the house of God, the mind of God, walking in the intelligence and the personification of God and Goddess, because we have taken the time to purify and consecrate our bodies as temples for the re-enthronement of the true spirits of the living God and Goddess that is our absolute truth. Now, the issue is everybody don't want to be that divine. Everybody don't want to be that righteous. Everybody don't want to be that godly. Everybody don't want to be that disciplined. Everybody don't want to be that clean. Everybody don't want to be all of that. We'd rather be miserable with the masses. We want to be common. We don't want to set ourselves apart. I'm saying, no, it'd be better for you to set yourself apart from masses of people who are being herded to their sickness, illness, disease, and death over a cliff of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and all of this. So I'm just saying, we can heal.
Hey, Adama,
Yes.
can you tell us some things about yourself and what you've been doing? Because when I heard your video that you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
I heard that you had some affiliation with Coretta Scott King. So I wanted to hear about that experience, and then also want to know about you and what you're doing to assist our people.
Well, the issue is this, right? When I was a child, watching the March on Washington. Now, my grandmother, who was born in 1899, was a Spelman College graduate. All of her brothers, her sisters, everybody graduated from Spelman and Morehouse. So I come from those ones, the Reverend Doctors, and my grandmother worked with Mary McLeod Bethune for Bethune-Cookman College, became Florida Memorial and whatever, I'm just saying. So there was a lot of attention in my household towards the civil rights movement and the March on Washington, whatnot, because of my family's relationship to Atlanta. My uncle GP was dean at Morehouse when Dr. King was there, when Benjamin E. Mays was present, when you understand. So I've got that history. So every atom and every cell of my being watching that March on Washington just knew, I had goosebumps. I knew at the age of 5 that I should be progression of us as a people. 40 years to the day later, I'm in Dr. King's house serving Coretta Scott King. And that was something that I could not have applied to do. It was something that the forces placed me there. And the conversation initially was that Mrs. King had a sister who had environmental toxicity, and her administrative assistant, Benny Ivy, had taken me in. So I was living with her. So she was my introduction to Coretta Scott King. And so, but her sister, very, very bougie, high yellow, color struck kind of woman, she didn't take to me very well. And so Mrs. King and I started communicating directly for hours at a time on the phone and whatnot. So I started working to assist her. And I told her directly, I said, Mrs. King, I was a child watching the March on Washington. Everything in me knew that I should be progression of us as a people. And I cannot imagine what your sacrifices have been, but I guarantee you that I am and will be the progression of us as a people. But you all should have asked the right question. And had you asked the right question, we would be in a different place as a people. She said, what question is that? I said, you should have asked what makes a man or people feel entitled to enslave you, beat you, rape you, sodomize you, cut your pregnant bellies open, whip you, hang you, declare that you have no rights, that they have the responsibility to respect, tar and feather you, castrate you, set you afire. But then they needed you. What makes a people that way? She said, what is it? I said, they're that way because their blood burns hot with the rot of pigs and cows and turkeys and chicken and alcohol and tobacco and white sugar, white flour, all of the paste and pastries, the pastas, the pretzels, the pancakes, the waffles, the breads, the biscuits, all of this stuff, which creates all of this glue. So all of that glue is holding all of those chemicals, all of those toxins. So there is no way in the world that they can have a right thought or a right mentality to understand that there is only one presence in life. And that's why we were told to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And Mrs. King was gracious. She loved me. She started writing me checks right away, but she would not do as I was really trying to get her to do, which is to cleanse. But the conversation was there, and then I was trying to get in touch with Dr. Sebi, who I could just call him up, but at this time he was working with Michael Jackson, and they told me, they said, Adama, you can't talk to Sebi now. Sebi's with Michael. I was trying to talk to get him to speak directly with Mrs. King, because by the time we got to the offices in California, and they quoted Mrs. King. Now, this is Mrs. Coretta Scott King. They're quoting her a $1,500 price tag on a package, where in my mind, they should have just got the address and sent her what she needed, right? And so that turned her off from them. But I worked with her for about 7 months. But what she was trying to do was to eat raw. And I was telling her, Mrs. King, it's not that you need raw food. Your body needs cleansing. We've got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of accumulation of the rot of pigs and cows and turkeys and chicken, and I don't know that she was a drinker, or a smoker. But pancakes, the waffles, the breads, the biscuits, all of this pus and mucus binding all of the chemicals. But then our not realizing that when you eat the flesh of a dead animal, you are bringing in pathogens, bacteria, and whatnot, the proliferation of worms, organisms, viruses, and all of that into the body also, which would not ordinarily be in our bodies. And so I worked with her as long as I could, but the issue is that I couldn't get her to really commit to the daily internal cleansing. And so what I have been doing since 2000, I started, now I had a strict vegetarian restaurant and custom adornment boutique in Little Five Points here in Atlanta from 1994 to 1999. In 1999, I closed the business. Strict vegetarian restaurant, I closed it before I closed the whole business. When I closed the restaurant, I went into a fast, and that fast lasted 72 days. And with that fast, I focused on a few things. Teach me how to love you with my whole body, heart, mind, with all of my might. Let me no longer be a slave to people's appetites and desires. Let me be a voice on behalf of our liberation. Let me be able to serve the true hunger and thirst. See, you get what you ask for. So I began to get clear about what I wanted and what I asked for. But that's where it started, that 72-day fast. I closed my business after my 41st birthday on the 5th of March and started doing radio. And so I've been doing radio with WRFG since March of 1999, after closing my $1 million business. Now, I don't get paid for doing radio, but during the time that I was in College Park, after closing my business, I went from 4.5-acre property in Fayetteville to a 2.5-acre property in Forest Park to being in College Park. And that's the time where I really developed these protocols, cleansing and disease reversal. Now, I had already been strict vegetarian since 1978, 79, coming out of college. But I realized that I had seen so many vegan vegetarians pass away with uterine cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, respiratory disease, and whatnot, because we were pretty much eating a vegan form of the same stuff that we grew up eating, so that the body was never given an opportunity to truly cleanse from the nitrates, nitrites, BHA, VHT, all of the chemicals and things. And so I have been doing what I refer to as inspirational lifestyle change consulting since 2003.
Okay, that's excellent, excellent. I want to go to the panel now to get some of their questions and comments. So I'm gonna start with Kay Sania. Do you want to unmute? Okay, what about Diana? Right?
Greetings, greetings. I just want to say thank you. This is my first time on. And I just want to say thank you for this platform. And let me see, are there any questions? That was just interesting, and I just love hearing the sister speak her truth and our truth, really. So that's all.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Ariel Crook. Hello, Ariel. How you doing? Do you have any questions or comments you want to make?
Oh, well, sure. I'm invited to speak. Are you hearing me well?
It's kind of a high pitch, like.
Oh, okay, how about now?
Much better.
That's great.
Okay, very good. Greetings and good evening. Well, I can share a testimony that I've been committed and following the protocols that Heraldess Adama is advocating for. And I'm based in Atlanta, so I have a true opportunity to really realign myself and commit to the wholeness of who I am through the consecration, through the through the commitment to life. And I can truly see and experience and witness the transformation within, just by being fully present in my activation. I can truly feel the transformation within, and everything in my world is evolving. And just ultimately, I'm just so grateful and so thankful to be part of this cosmic citizenship. That's really what we are when we see the truth of ourselves. So I'm just grateful for this time to truly align with what's necessary, um, while we're under siege of the death industries. But actually, it's the rising, it's the rising of righteousness and truth that we're truly experiencing. So, um, yes, thank you.
Okay, Ariel, can,
Hmm.
can you give an example of what you're talking about as far as were you doing something and then you made some changes?
Well, I can just say I'm being in the right place, being at the right time, being obedient, actively making choices. So actually, one of our sisters, Jessica Joy, is someone who I've connected with, over the years, and she sent me Mother Adama's video in 2022. And honestly, I'd been on the path of, being quote unquote vegan vegetarian for on and off, for like over 7, 8 years. But watching the vegan linked video of Mother Adama's interview really just exposed me to a higher dimension of healing. It's not just about what we're eating, it's about the resurrection. It's about the renewal of who we are as women, particularly, but yes, men and women of God. So yes, just it's been just a consistent effort, I'll say, and just really opening up my heart and my mind to what is possible when we align ourselves in the truth and light of being.
So is that a change of mentality?
It's a complete change of everything. It's a complete change of um, how we think, how we walk, how we talk, what we consume, who we're around. It's all about, how we're nourishing ourselves. It's again not just about what we eat, but it's about surrendering to the freedom of ourselves. So yes, so just doing away with all of the comfort eating, the comfort foods. It's even, I'm at the point where I've had to walk away from certain friendships, relationships. Um, I don't celebrate a lot of traditional holidays or holidays, as we say. So it's really a complete lifestyle switch.
I understand. Clear.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna
Mm.
move on.
All right.
Thank
Blessings.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Ashe. Thank you.
Sababu, Shabaka, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. This is my first time, I believe. Really appreciate uh, Mama Adama's presentation. In fact, I heard her a few times on Us Lifting Us radio out of Atlanta. In fact, I'm down the street. I'm in Miami, so I see her up the street. But I'm interested in in making certain lifestyle changes. The people around me saw me differently because a lot of the people they saw around them were not making changes. And as a consequence, my thing is never to criticize but to use my lifestyle change and the benefit as an example. And in time, I would engage in conversation to see how they would see that. So I guess my question is, 99% of our people are not making the kind of lifestyle changes to bring them wellness. And although they're attending church, closer to spirituality to God, any suggestions on how we may improve upon what we're doing to increase that number?
Well, I have been knocking, asking, seeking, praying since I was a child. And I know that we get what we ask for, we get what we apply ourselves to. The issue is coming to a point where we are literally practicing the presence of God. But because we were told, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he or she. So the mentality that we embrace in terms of having the capacity for becoming vehicles and vessels of the love, light, wisdom, truth, peace, poise, power, potency, intelligence, and wisdom of God, we can ask for that. You understand? Because a lot of times when people have seen you and they were in the ditches and valleys of degradation with you, when they were smoking with you and drinking with you and partying with you and whatnot, now you're trying to do something different. They only see you from what they remember. You understand? And your parents and your people, your family members, it's like, no, they don't see you differently at all, right? It's like you still the same, wayward teenager, this and that. So I'm just saying is that, no, the clearer we get, because of the cleanliness of the blood, all right? We've heard your blood will be your salvation or your condemnation. We've heard I have been saved through the blood of Christ, for salvation comes through the blood of Christ. So I'm saying that when we consciously accept the perfection, the inherent perfection of our perfectly and divinely designed bodies, and we will initiate a daily practice of cleansing, purifying, and then creating more effective nutrient absorption through getting rid of the starches, the glue, the paste, the chemicals, and getting into a full nutrient dense protocol, which is including the clays and the salts. Why? Because they're mineral rich. 2, opening up the elimination through the bowel. So we're doing daily enemas to not move the bowel, but to pull and loosen anything that is viral, bacterial, chemical, or metal from the walls of the intestines. All right. We want to increase nutrient absorption, and that's why we do the herbal teas. Now, it's a lot of people selling tea, but what I realize is that people drink tea when they have an issue. They're not drinking tea just to be drinking and getting the nutrients from the tea, and then they're not drinking enough tea. All right, so my basic blend is 38 to 40 herbs that were in Dr. Sebi's $750 package, so that all of our glands and organs are literally getting nourished with the minerals in the herbs, in the teas. The herbs are the cell's actual fuel. All right, we're going to make a distinction between fueling the body and feeding the body. The fueling of the body is oxygenating, because we are inherently breatharian. Everybody has to breathe. It is in the oxygenation that everything really works, right? Hydration. 80% of the earth is water. 80% of our bodies is water. 80% of our nutrient should be coming from water-based things. That's our herbal teas, our fresh fruit, our leafy greens, and things with seed. That is going to facilitate the alkalization. The alkalization is what is requisite for consistent cellular regeneration, repair, rejuvenation, revitalization. And then I also provide audio files, right? I'm getting more and more of my content that is available to you. Why? Because you were told to know the truth, and the truth would make you free. The truth is that you are this point of an absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. The truth is that you can accomplish whatever you will. The truth is that we live in the infinity of eternity. The truth is that where you make a commitment to be vehicle and vessel of the love, life, wisdom, truth, peace, poise, and power of God, then that power is going to be much more effective than those behavior modifying chemicals that's saturating everybody's body to put them in a place where they feel entitled to be killing themselves. And then the frequency of the energy that you have the opportunity to consistently experience as you are maturing, as we are progressing. So we're making more sense than ever before. You understand? We're making it make sense. And we're showing and being able to articulate that which is light, that which is love, and that which is law. Because it is the law that we must harmonize ourselves with. Because the lawlessness is what we've been taught. All right. So I would suggest that you definitely stay in communication with me. Get on the protocol so that you are taking whatever you're doing to the next level, because there's always a next level. There's always a next level. There's always a next level. But the next level comes with the depth of cleansing, because the body is layered, and the longer we go, the deeper the cleansing. The longer we're on this track, the deeper the cleansing. So we're talking about getting artificial colors, artificial flavors, red dye, blue lake, this from the Kool-Aid we was drinking 40 years ago as children, 50, 60 years ago as children. That stuff is still in the body. Or the 20 years that you smoked, and now it's 40 years since you smoked, but that tobacco residues, those 140 chemicals are still in the brain, is still in the lungs. You understand? So the issue is where is your care, and then your commitment to ask and knock and seek and become the vessel for the Spirit of God as your absolute truth.
Okay, thanks for that. Marian Anderson. Okay. What about Jawan? Jawan? Just listening. Okay. Rico Clay, you want to unmute?
Yes, sir. How you doing? Thank you. I had 3 questions, but she answered my 3 questions. But one of my questions was, do you eat fruit with seeds? And the other question was, how many times you gotta do an animal? And then last thing was the tea, how much tea you gotta drink a day? She already answered my questions already.
Okay,
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Bernice? Okay, just listening. All right, did I go to Richard? Richard? Already talked to Richard. Okay, this is Denise Salubi. All right, go to Sylvia John.
Greetings, good evening. I would say thank you so much for creating this platform, sir. And I just want to keep it brief because I do have a few questions. But firstly, I want to thank Adama so much because I think we talk a lot about the Western allopathic medicine, but I was on a journey of healing, and I knew I wasn't going to take that route. I went the natural doctor route, but I realized even in that community, there's a lot of people. It's very similar to the Western as well. So a lot of people are still pull on, like she said, teas, pills, the solutions, but a lot of people are not doing it from a holistic point of view. And I've probably spoken to like about 10 to 12 different people getting solutions for my healing. And I would say that she is actually the most holistic person, like the mind, body, the soul, like deepening your relationship to God without any intermediaries, like for the most expeditious process. And as she says, for the least price. So since I started her protocol in April, so we're talking May, June, July, I've released 54 pounds of waste. And like she said, there's always and like she said, like it's always a next level to go deeper. So I've literally been telling myself, like, I want to create a program for the 90 days of devotion to go deeper, because I heard her say during that time, I have eaten rice, I have eaten also beans, and I told myself I have to cut out certain things because, like she said, we have years. You know, I'm 38 years young, but there's still years of things of coming from a West Indian background of eating, roti, curry and all those things that I definitely have to release. So I just want to know, Adama, those 72 days. I've listened to a lot of things that you said, and your 72 days of fasting, what exactly were you eating? Was that a dry fast? Was that a water fast? And if I want to go deeper for these next 90 days, what exactly
I,
do you
I
recommend?
I would tell you to stay on the protocol. And
Okay.
instead of breaking fast with fresh fruit, you can have more tea, and then you can start with diluted citrus juices. And so when I started my 72-day fast, I started out with 3 days of water with enemas at the top of the day and at the end of the day. And then I went into diluted citrus blends. So that was grapefruit, oranges, tangerines, lime, and lemon juice, right? And I would do maybe 32 ounces of that with about 32 ounces of water or more. But I did that for maybe 3 weeks. And then I moved into doing the grape apple juice and grape juice. At that time, they had the big black Concord grapes. And so I just went from the citrus into the apples, into the grapes and whatnot, and more water. But I started sleeping out in the parks, getting up and hitting on the wall, playing tennis, going to the gym and doing like 3 miles on the treadmill and whatnot, all before I went back to my shop. And so, but the praying without ceasing, the putting the commitments in writing. And see, the reality is that we are still so focused outwardly that we forget that what we see outwardly has started internally. Everything is a manifestation of somebody's thought, somebody's idea. Now we're having the opportunity to take seriously who we are as co-creators in our own reality, because we're living in what I refer to as the liquidity of intelligence. So there's nothing but absolute and supreme intelligence. And we are each these points of absolute and supreme intelligence. So we are literally imprinting our desires on the intelligence all around us, and we are creating and manifesting things in solid form. So when I asked for a house with a commercial kitchen for my holistic life center, I had already had a detailed assessment of what I wanted to do with my holistic life center. I didn't go and start asking realtors for places. I wasn't scouting around, but one day I met a woman who needed my help, and she had this house with a commercial kitchen. And that's where I am today, 6 years later. And so I'm just saying is that, stay on the protocols, because the clay is the natural neutralizer, and it will pull anything that is viral, bacterial, chemical, metal from your tissues. Do the detox bath to really sweat those toxins out. The day that you don't do the bath, then do a sauna. So you can vary the day so you're not having to do the bath every day. But particularly for those ones who have gotten any of those vaccinations, then I'm saying, yeah, you have to do those baths. You have to sweat these poisons out of the system. All right. And then keep the cosmic I am in your ear. Keep me in your ear. Why? And then put your prayers in writing. Give thanks. Be in a place where as shit is showing up, then you have to really be releasing it. You have to release the the shame, the game, the guilt, the blame, any of those hardened belief systems that are no longer working for you. You understand? You have to come to a point where you are fully vested in God's way. In knocking, asking, seeking, loving, forgiving, being merciful, being compassionate. You understand? We are here to personify the virtues of character of our God, Goddess self.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, let's move on. Bana.
Hi, greetings, everyone. It's Bono with a V.
Oh, Vana. Vana.
Yes.
Vana. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not gonna be too long. I just want to say thank you so much, Adama, for everything, our conversation. I just started my protocols today because I just got my package yesterday evening.
Very good.
That that internal cleansing clay is no joke. I'm gonna just say that it's no joke. But I'm excited for this whole new lifestyle. I've been vegan for 2 years now. Before that, I was strictly pescatarian. But like you said, even with being vegan, I was still eating some of the foods that, was kind of like the same of the other food. You want a vegan chili dog, or you want a vegan, it was still garbage,
Right.
really. So but yes, I'm so excited. Like I said, I just started today, so I'm trying to get on a good schedule of things. But other than that, thank you so much. Oh, I do want to ask you, do you have any recommendations on like a good blender and a good juicer?
Well, I'm old school in the sense that I'm still using the Champion juicer. I've got several juices on the shelves, but the Champion juicer is what I'm really using. That's what I'm making a mucus buster with, is juicing up that horseradish root, the ginger, all of that. And then I've got a Vitamix, and then there's I'm not sure what Janice, you could tell me what that other blender is that works pretty well that we have back there in the kitchen.
The Champion?
The other blender.
Oh, KitchenAid.
KitchenAid, right.
Okay.
And so I've got a couple of those. But those work pretty well. And then you can also get a citrus juicer. One is specifically for juicing citrus.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Angelique Jefferson. Just listening. Okay. Brother Mashinda.
Yeah, good evening, Sister Adama.
Evening.
Yeah, hey, thank you for that explosion of inspiration and motivation. I can feel it coming through the waves. You put out a lot of great information. I've tried different things and been on a quest for, higher ground, and I'm steady, on that path. And just listening to you, and I've heard your video recently, one of your videos recently, and so you come across, which I can feel the truth in what you're saying. But like I say, it's we all have to make a commitment, and it's So anyway, I appreciate what you've been saying tonight, and I look forward to connecting with you at some point in the future, for more information. And, thanks again.
You're very welcome.
All right. Thanks. Sage. All right. I'm going to move to Brother Chiwara.
Yes, greetings, my divine and immortal heraldess goddess with the big G, Sister Adama.
Thank you, brother. How are you?
I'm in my immortality and divine self, my good sister.
Yes.
You know, everything is by divine order, and I give thanks for your presence here on the CEN network. You know, looking forward to reigniting, you know, the journey together again, once again. One of the things I love what you spoke tonight because it confirms many things, as I've told Brother Ras Haki as well as Professor Ra and the whole network, that life is my religion, life is my culture, and life is my tradition. And I think your presence here in the network basically solidifies that truth. And I give thanks for life that is radiating through you, that we are gathered here this evening to pay homage to our divinity, you know, and our supreme and immortal consciousness of self. You know, how would you look at the whole process, as you say, liberation is at a cellular level? And this is one of the things I've been trying to relay to others, that it all begins from within. And the cleansing and the different levels, as you say, there are levels to this. And I think that's what throws a lot of us off, because we're looking at it as some kind of remedy, but it's really not a remedy. It's a restoration of the true divine self that we all are, so that we can tap into our immortal power that exists. One of the things is the difference between reality and real. Give me a summation, short, brief, however you feel like putting it through. As we cleanse, the levels that we reach is determined by the cleansing process, and the enlightenment begins also as a part of this cleansing, the restoration of the truth which is hidden in our DNA, and so on and so forth. Enlighten me and the panel and the guests here on that process of enlightenment that takes place and creates a stronger bond between and relationship between the brain and the mind.
Thank you. You know, with my protocols, I am providing affirmations as well as my teacher's writing that is my voice in this piece called The Cosmic I Am. And it is the psalm of the ancients that literally is creating a reprogram at the cellular level towards conscious immortality. Now, we've been given all manners of the holy books and scriptures and different things, but for where we are now, the conscious care. Now, we'll never do something we don't care to do. So we're activating within ourselves the fact that we care to be redeemed. We care to be reconciled. We care to be restored. We care to be in a place and space where we are creating the frequency within our very selves by virtue of what we are uttering, what we are claiming, what we are saying, what we are thinking, and being very discerning about what we allow to penetrate us in any of our orifices. All right, because these guys are playing a penetration game. They've been penetrating you in every atom and every cell of your being till you can't get loose. So the issue for us is bringing that clay into the body. The clay is coming from deep within the earth. We are on a planet that is 80% water, but she is magical. All right. So when we bring the earth into the body and we're getting the mineralization, we're also getting the grounding. You hear a lot of people talk about grounding now. You understand? So when I walked barefoot for 5.5 years, it wasn't because somebody was telling me, oh, well, you know, that's how you enhance your connection to the earth. No, I was in a place and space where I had to take my shoes off to walk this path after the suicide of one of my brother friends. All right. And so where we are now is realizing that there is one real eye that truly sees. And we're activating that real eye that is the intelligence of our being, so that that allows us to be able to perceive the real lies that we've been told all of our lives, and we have taken them into our hearts, and we've created these belief systems. And in the middle of the word belief, there is that word called lie. A man could believe a thing all of his life, and it was never the truth. So that our orientation in accepting the truth of the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of being directly allows us to begin to literally increase our awareness of the reality that we are immersed in nothing but the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of existence itself, no matter where we are. Some people want to go to the islands. Some people want to go to Costa Rica. You want to go to Africa. I don't care where you go. You are not leaving the planet. But the planet itself is immersed in the reality of eternity. So it just gets clearer. The visioning gets clearer. The perspective gets clearer. And that's what we want, the clarity of mind. But then the audaciousness and the bodaciousness of being able to call forward and invoke the greatness of the lineages that you are. I call forth and invoke the greatness of my lineages to come pouring forward as the richness and the wealth of my life. I am this point of the presence of all there is. We have the opportunity to realign ourselves by virtue of the word that we speak, what we put behind I am, because the I am is the evidence of God presence in all of us. Are coming to a point in place where we all right with being all right, but we're all right with being godly. We're all right with being cleared, cleansed, purified, renewed, rebirth, regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized, revivified, because the deeper you go, the greater the alignment. And we're creating a direct connect with our angels, our guides, our guardians, our ancients, and to come under the auspices of our souls. We are on a planet, but the planet is in eternity. We've come into this realm of eternity from another realm of eternity through the sacred fluid of our mother's womb, sparked by the sacred fluid of our fathers. The consciousness, the acknowledgement, the affirming and declaring, and the real I truly seeing the divinity of all there is going to be facilitated with this process. There's no way to miss the truth of yourself when you're committed to it. See, that's the whole point of the miseducation, the religious indoctrination, the socialization, the genocide, is to have us divided within ourselves. So each of us is an individuation of the intelligence of existence that we refer to as the divine one, the creator of all, God, goddess, Allah, Aja, whatever we call it, right? We each are individuations of it. Now, the issue is you cannot be a detriment to yourself and survive it. That's the whole point, being divided within yourself. So the individual should be indivisible. So we are literally pulling ourselves, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, into the oneness of our being, male or female, some combination of the two, but we are intelligences of existence. And intelligence doesn't kill itself, and intelligence doesn't die. The exalting of full effort in our living, in our loving, in our forgiving, in our standing, in our exalting, in our caring, in our being is really what liberation is, the intelligence of our being completely freed so that we function as intelligence does, always in our own best interest, always in the best interest of the whole, always exalting a full effort in our living, doing nothing to undermine ourselves or anyone else, and being completely responsive to that which is light, love, wisdom, and truth in every situation.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. Professor Ra.
Appreciate what's been said, if I understand correctly. And first of all, I want to thank all the people that's on for their courageous questions and comments. I want to thank the good doctor for her relentless studies of our anatomy, our pathologies, and trying to come up or recommending solutions and things of that nature. It takes a lot of effort because you're recommending to people life change, and that's revolution. And so it's very important that people realize that it's a struggle to change. And you got to have the discipline, the fortitude, the insight, and faith in yourself, as Adora said. Adana, is that right?
Adama.
Adana, yeah.
Adama.
I just have a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
When you say cellular, you're talking about the cells of the body, or are you talking about some cosmic aspects of cellular?
Well, we are cosmic. We are absolutely cosmic, dwelling on this planet. But we're talking brain cells, liver cells, kidney cells. We're made with trillions of cells. Mm-hmm. And the cells are oppressed with the sludge and the residues from meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, pancakes, waffles, breads, biscuits, all of that creates this blockage and obstruction. Yeah. And so liberating the cells from all of that obstruction, all of those chemicals, all of that mucus, all of the viruses and parasites and bacteria is the daily work.
So, but you're really talking about people revolutionizing their nutritional practices and incorporating it into a way of life. Is that correct?
Absolutely, because
and
see,
the cleansing.
We're perfectly, exactly. We're perfectly and divinely designed.
Yeah.
But we weren't designed by white men. But we've been fed by the thought of a European Western thought that is just foolishness.
Yeah, it's American.
They never had our best interests at heart. So at this particular point, the cleansing is going to facilitate better nutrient absorption.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Ebonics is kids learning what they hear, and then learning the language, and the same thing with regards to nutritional habits. I mean, we're in America, and we deal with the advertisement, the seductions, and seduces, the seductions and just brain manipulation or things of that nature to eat what Americans eat, white people eat. And, of course, they didn't feed us what they ate when we were in the Holocaust of enslavement. But as we struggle for liberation, many of us imitate the same lifestyle as Americans. And we eat what they eat, and they get the diseases, and we get the diseases, both physical and mental. But the other question is, when you say that, what is your protocol? What is your protocol, and is there a way in which people purchase the protocol, the books, the things? Is there a directive in it? Because a lot of people have been saying they practice in the protocol, but I want to know, what is the protocol?
The protocol is a process of facilitating that daily cleansing. One, by opening up the bowel. So when we get up in the morning, the body has been processing all night. And so we should be eliminated. The system has taught us that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And so we get up and we're eating all of this stuff that is not going to facilitate the body's cleansing. So the protocol is calling for the ingestion of internal cleansing clay, which is a combination of this deep red clay that is coming from deep within the earth, from the west side of Arizona, where you have the huge red mountains of Sedona, but it's further west than that, and it's coming from deep within the earth. So the clay is the natural detoxifier. So we're putting it in solution, and we are taking it up the rectum with enemas to cleanse the walls of the intestines, because you've heard it say all disease starts in the colon, right? Then we're having our herbal teas, so that we are literally able to get the nutrients after we finish shaving and doing whatever we do before we get dressed. And the first thing we're having is our clay water, if we did not drink it before we took the enema. And then we're having our herbal tea. The break fast would be just fresh fruit after the tea.
So you have a package that describes
exactly.
Okay, so do you have how do you do the diagnosis of people?
People call me, they call me and talk to me.
Okay.
You know, they ask questions. How old are you? What's your birthday? Have you been diagnosed? Did you take the COVID vaccines? Or what's your weight? What's the heaviest you've been? What's the lightest you've been? What are your concerns? Da 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 da. And so, you know, the body is so intelligent that it is going to respond correctly with the facilitation of the elimination, because most of the issues, regardless of what they call it, from AIDS to zits, is because of how much toxicity the body is holding.
And how do you determine the toxicity? How much is in the body? By the
Well,
weight,
I
by
look
the
at how,
swelling of the body?
Yeah, I'm looking at the weight. I'm looking at the weight. I'm looking at what the heaviest they've been. So if you're 5 foot, say if you're 5'7" and you're 250 pounds, and the heaviest you've been was 303, and how long ago was that? And in 4 years, you've lost 50 some pounds. And then what are the issues that you're having? Is it high blood pressure? Is it high cholesterol? What have you been diagnosed with? So I just do a series of questions that allow me to really get to the reality of how much toxicity is there. But then we're having to realize that when you get started with these protocols, that it also includes a detoxification bath, that you are literally sweating these poisons out of the system, because your skin is your largest eliminative organ. Now, they're creating a lot of the senior living facilities without bathtubs now, right? Some people don't have tubs, people don't get into the bath, but the bath with this pure bentonite clay, that you heat the bathroom up with a little space heater, get it hot, you fill the tub up with hot water, pour and the detox bath, the clay, into the water, and you get in there and you sweat from head to toe. So you're going to sweat out chemicals from the hair products. You're going to sweat out tobacco residues. You're going to sweat out a lot of the things that are colorless, odorless, and tasteless. And do this consistently over time, you're going, and in addition to the daily enemas, you will lose 1 pound or 3 a day and keep it off forever. And those brothers, particularly brothers, but not exclusively brothers, who have pouches, bellies, looking like you 4, 5, 6, 7 months pregnant, you're going to get rid of all of that. You understand? Because see, the issue is that we're perfectly and divinely designed, and we get back to our perfect and divine design. But in addition to that, the mental clarity that comes is going to be off the freaking chain.
Okay. Now, when you say divine and godly. You mentioned that. Which faith is that, or is it just
It's not about a faith, brother. It's the actuality of understanding
that
that
there's a creator?
these bodies are our spacesuits, right? Seamless. There are spacesuits. We're traveling in space on a intergalactic spaceship called Mother Earth, and the body is perfectly and divinely designed. And we've been given the capacity for contemplation, meditation, reflection, understanding, communication. You understand, because we're intelligences of existence. The spirit that is in the body is like vapor, but completely intelligent. And so the body is perfectly and divinely designed. That means that from the blackest black to the lightest light, our hearts, our brains, everything is pretty much designed the same.
Yeah,
But we are dysfunctioning.
I was asking you, did nature design the body, or was there a creator that created the body?
I refer to it as the intelligence of existence, the same intelligence as blazed in the sun and has the earth spinning, has created itself in our form and all forms of that which is intelligence of existence. The cosmic conformity is the multiplicity of diversity.
Yeah, the
where all
existence of
orders
existence.
of being
I
are
understand.
completely intelligent.
Yeah, the existence of existence. Let me just this last question. When people want to contact you to get the protocols, what is the process?
You just call me up, 678-760-9299.
And how long did you stay on these protocols for the rest of your life?
How long have we been eating shit? So yeah. Your body is going to be cleansing. And I ask people, I say, well, how long will you be brushing your teeth and bathing? Cleanliness is a part of how we live. So yeah, it's going to be facilitative of cleansing. So people will ask me, brother, they'll say, well, sister, if you've been strict vegetarian for 46 years and you haven't been doing potatoes and rice and beans and stuff for the 20 years, then why are you still doing these protocols? And I say, because I'm still brushing my teeth and I'm still bathing, washing under my arms, between my legs, all of that. So it's just hygiene.
Well, I gotta admit, you look great and you sound great. You know, you sound healthy. I mean, you're an example of it's working. But is it one process for all people when you do your protocols for all people?
Basically, yes. Now, there is some variation based upon if there have been diagnoses. So those ones who've been diagnosed with 3rd and 4th stage cancer, they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. Those ones who've had the COVID vaccines, they're going to be a little bit more intense about the detox bath and adding borax and baking soda to it so that they are able to sweat those added poisons out from the vaccine. But basically, if it's asthma, if it's psoriasis, if it's allergies, if it's heart disease, if it's diabetes, it doesn't matter what it is. We have to cleanse the body and we have to nourish the cells. And so there may be some variation in terms of the tea formulas that I do. So those ones who are having real issues with the kidneys or dialysis, they're going to get more herbs specifically for the kidneys, but they will still get the whole cleansing package for all of the other organs also. So that's one of the reasons why I consult with people.
All right. Thank you for the information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. So we're going to take a pause because we've been going about 1 hour and 30 minutes. And we want to have you back, Adama, because there's some people we didn't get to that may have comments and questions. So are you willing to come back and do what you do?
I generally show up when I'm asked, brother. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to get you back on and we're going to take our pause. Is there any last words you want to leave us with?
I'll say this. We'll never have anything greater than our lives. And being under a global initiative that is intended to phase our lineages out of existence, then we need to be intensely intentional in our commitments to living and our commitments to living in alignment with the laws that govern us, with the intelligence that beats our heart and breeds us, that we have duty, obligation, and responsibility to the lineages to whom we come, on behalf of those that we didn't allow to come, those who couldn't come, all of those who were beaten, raped, hung, sodomized, castrated, set afire. We are not here under our own auspices. We are here to serve in our liberation and our resurrection as a global community. Do not take yourself so lightly that you do not take yourself seriously as a part of the problem, part of the solution. If you need support, and I'm sure you do, and get support by calling me directly at 678-760-9299, or keep me in your ear as much as possible with Adama Speaks through YouTube, The Real Adama Speaks with Instagram, or WRFG.org Thursday nights, midnight to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But otherwise, the best way to deal with me is to call.
Well,
I
excellent.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you and all that you bring to us this evening, and hopefully people will take this seriously and start making the needed changes that we need to make as people. And
Absolutely. So I expect to hear from you too, brother. All right.
you will. Okay, you will.
All right, because see, that's what happens with brothers. People who interview me, they always want everybody. I'm like, nah, y'all need to deal with me directly. Okay, I'm putting you on point.
Now, I want to thank everybody else for coming out. It was a nice, large panel this evening, and it's always good to have people come out and participate in learning, and we need to keep doing it. And so you guys, everybody that came on, you saw the Community Education Network. Check us out. If you're interested in being a guest, just shoot us an email. And we're here almost every week from on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Professor Rise on Tuesday, and the CEN show is on Wednesdays. And so we will be back on in 2 weeks for the CEN show with Asa Ala. And some of you guys out of Atlanta should know Asa. Real good buddy of mine. He'll be back on for the second time in 2 weeks on the 31st. Professor Rye, are we expecting anybody on Tuesday?
Yeah. I think Brother Jabal out of Cuba.
Okay, so that'll be excellent. Sur Jabbar, author, and he has a lot of great information. Continue to check out the website to see if you're interested in coming and checking out our guests and being on the panel. Appreciate everybody. Each one teach one in Conscious Corner. Everybody have a great evening.
Thank you. Bless you.